The final moments of episode 7 slow everything down, almost on purpose. After chaos, betrayal, and loss, the story becomes quiet, and that silence is heavy. We see characters standing still, not because they are safe, but because they finally understand where they are. The camera lingers on faces instead of action, telling us that the real damage here is not physical, it's emotional. One character realizes that escaping the vault never meant freedom. Another understands that the surface world isn't broken by accident. It was shaped this way. The ending shows us that survival in Fallout is not about strength or weapons. It is about who controls the truth. And in this moment, that truth is finally revealed. What makes this ending powerful is how little it explains out loud. No long speech, no clear answer, just visual clues and painful silence. The final scene shows us that the systems controlling people did not disappear with the old world. They evolved. The vaults were never shelters. They were experiments. And episode 7 confirms that the experiment is far from over. One small action at the end, a door opening, a signal sent, a decision made, tells us that someone is still watching, still guiding events from the shadows. This isn't about the past anymore. It's about what kind of future is being built right now, and who gets to live in it. The emotional weight of the ending hits hardest when we focus on the characters, who finally see the truth. A character who once believed in rules now sees them as chains. Another who trusted authority now understands the cost of that trust. The episode doesn't give us relief, it gives us clarity. And that clarity hurts, because knowing the truth means you can't go back. The final expressions we see are not shocked, they are broken. These people are no longer asking how to survive. They are asking if survival is even worth the price anymore. Episode 7 ends by quietly changing the meaning of everything that came before it. Early episodes showed us danger on the surface. This ending shows us that the real danger was always control. Control of information, control of hope, control of people who think they are being protected. The last moments don't prepare us for peace. They prepare us for conflict. Because once the truth is exposed, it can't be buried again. And Fallout makes one thing very clear here. The war never ended. It just learned how to hide. The real meaning behind the ending of Fallout Season 2 Episode 7 is not about who survived or who escaped. It is about control, and how deeply that control is built into this world. The episode slowly reveals that the systems shaping people's lives were never destroyed by the bombs. They were perfected. The ending shows us that power in Fallout does not come from guns or armies. It comes from information, from silence, and from making people believe they are safe while guiding every step they take. This is the truth the episode wants us to understand. Throughout the season, the vaults were shown as places of order compared to the chaos outside. Rules, schedules, and promises of protection made them feel like the last safe spaces left. But the ending of episode 7 breaks that illusion. It becomes clear that safety was never the real goal. Obedience was. The ending suggests that people inside the vaults were shaped over time to think a certain way, to fear certain things, and to never question the system above them. This is why the ending feels so quiet. There is no explosion because the real damage happened long ago, slowly and carefully. One of the most important ideas in this ending is that the surface world and the vaults are not opposites. They are connected parts of the same plan. The surface looks wild and broken, but it forces people to adapt and fight. The vaults look clean and calm, but they train people to follow and obey. Both worlds are controlled in different ways. The ending shows that no matter where you live, someone is deciding how much freedom you are allowed to have. This makes the Fallout world feel even darker because there is no clear escape anymore. The episode also explores the idea that hope itself can be used as a weapon. People in the vaults were given hope of survival, hope of a future, hope that everything was being handled. On the surface, people were given hope through rumors, legends, and false promises. The ending suggests that hope keeps people moving forward without asking questions, as long as they believe something better is coming. They don't fight back. This is one of the cruelest ideas in Fallout. And episode 7 brings it into focus without saying it out loud. Another key meaning behind. The ending is choice. The characters are finally placed in a moment where they see the truth. But seeing the truth does not make things easier. It makes them harder. Now they must choose whether to accept the system or risk everything by resisting it. The ending shows us that knowledge is not freedom by itself. It is a burden. Once you know the truth, you can no longer pretend you are safe. You can no longer trust simple answers. And that is why the episode ends without comfort. In the end, episode 7 is not telling us that the world is hopeless. It is telling us that the world was designed this way on purpose. The real horror is not the radiation or the monsters. It is the idea that humanity rebuilt the same mistakes, just with better tools and quieter methods. This ending forces us to rethink every moment that came before it. Because now we understand that the Fallout world is not random chaos. It is a carefully managed disaster, and the people living in it are part of the plan, whether they know it or not. The ending of Fallout Season 2 Episode 7 completely reshapes the future of the main characters by exposing their true motivations and hidden fears. What looks like a calm ending is actually the moment where masks fall off. Characters who once seemed strong now appear unsure, while others who stayed quiet suddenly feel dangerous. This episode makes it clear that survival has changed them all, but not in the same way. Some adapted by believing the system, others adapted by learning how to use it. One of the biggest shifts happens with the character who trusted structure and rules the most. Throughout the season, this character believed that order meant safety. Following rules felt like the right way to survive. But the ending shows a silent breaking point. Their body language, their hesitation, and their final reaction tell us they finally understand the truth. The system they trusted never cared about them as a person. They were a number, a test subject. This realization doesn't turn them into a hero instantly. It turns them into someone lost, standing between loyalty and rebellion, unsure which path will destroy them slower. Another character's fate becomes darker in a very quiet way. This character has always seemed practical, even cold at times. They made hard choices and justified them as necessary. In episode 7's ending, we see that these choices were not just about survival. They were about control. The final moments suggest this character knew more than they admitted. They may not be the one pulling the strings, but they are no longer innocent. Their silence in the ending speaks louder than words. It hints that they are willing to let others suffer if it means they stay ahead. The episode also hints at betrayal, but not the loud kind. There is no dramatic fight or clear enemy reveal. Instead, the betrayal is emotional. Someone who promised protection failed when it mattered most. Someone who claimed honesty hid the truth until it was too late. The ending shows us that betrayal in Fallout is often passive. It happens when people choose comfort over courage, when they look away instead of standing up. And that makes it more painful because it feels real. A key character's decision near the end changes their entire arc. This choice is small on the surface, but heavy in meaning. It shows that they are done being controlled, even if they don't know what freedom looks like yet. This character does not win. They do not escape, but they wake up. And in the Fallout world, waking up is dangerous. It puts a target on your back. The ending makes it clear that this character's future will be filled with loss, but also purpose. What episode 7 does best is show that no character is fully good or fully evil anymore. Everyone is compromised. Everyone has made choices that hurt others. The ending doesn't judge them. It simply shows the cost. Power has shifted, but it hasn't disappeared. It has just moved into quieter hands. And some characters are closer to that power now, whether they want it or not. By the time the episode ends, we understand that these characters are no longer just trying to survive the world. They are trapped inside it, shaped by it, and forced to decide what kind of people they will become. Episode 7 doesn't give them answers. It gives them consequences. And that is what makes this ending so heavy and unforgettable. Episode 7 is filled with small details that quietly explain the ending, without directly telling us anything. These hidden moments are easy to miss, but together they reveal how carefully planned everything really is. One of the most important details appears in the background rather than the main action. We see symbols, screens, and signs that mirror earlier episodes, reminding us that nothing in this world is random. These repeating visuals suggest that the same force has been watching the characters from the very. One subtle detail is how technology is framed in the final scenes. Screens are always shown from a distance, never clearly focused, as if the truth is always just out of reach. This visual choice hints that information is being filtered. We are allowed to see parts of the truth, but never the whole picture. This connects directly to the idea that someone is controlling what people know. And when they know it, even when characters think they have discovered something important, the episode suggests they are only seeing what they are meant to see. Another hidden detail comes from the environment itself. The condition of certain rooms, doors, and equipment tells a story on its own. Some places look abandoned, but small signs show they are still being maintained. Lights flicker on at the right time. Doors open without explanation. These details hint that the system running everything never shut down. It only went quiet. This reinforces the idea that the experiment is still active, even if most people believe it ended long ago. The episode also uses sound in a very clever way. In the final moments, background noise fades, but not completely. A low hum remains, almost mechanical. This sound suggests machines are still running somewhere nearby. It's a reminder that control does not always need to be visible. Sometimes, it only needs to exist. This sound choice adds tension without action and makes the ending feel unsettling, rather than explosive. Sharp-eyed viewers may notice callbacks to earlier episodes hidden in small props and dialogue. A phrase repeated from an early scene now carries a darker meaning. An object once seen as harmless now feels threatening. These callbacks show that the writers planned this ending carefully, planting clues long before episode 7. When you look back, the warning signs were always there. We just didn't know how to read them yet. There are also clear connections to Fallout lore hidden in plain sight. Certain symbols and designs match ideas long associated with Vault experiments. These details quietly confirm that what is happening now follows an old pattern. Different location, same method. This makes the ending feel bigger than just one story. It feels like part of a long cycle that keeps repeating itself across time. What makes these hidden details so effective is that they don't demand attention. They reward it. The episode trusts the audience to notice, to question, and to connect the dots. Episode 7 doesn't explain everything because it doesn't need to. The clues are already there, waiting to be found. And once you notice them, the ending feels even darker because you realize the truth was never hidden. It was always right in front of us. The ending of episode 7 clearly pushes the story toward a breaking point, and everything it sets up for episode 8 feels bigger, darker, and far more dangerous. The calm tone of the final scene is misleading because it is the quiet before a major collapse. The episode shows that the balance of power has shifted, and once that balance moves, it cannot return to the way it was before. Episode 8 is being prepared as the moment where hidden plans finally start to collide. One of the strongest setups for the next episode is the idea that secrets are no longer safe. Information that was once locked away is now exposed, even if only a few characters know the truth. This creates tension because knowledge spreads in Fallout, whether people want it to or not. Episode 8 is likely to show the consequences of that. Truth leaking out. Trust will break. Alliances will change. And people who were once protected by silence will become targets. The ending of episode 7 makes it clear that keeping the truth hidden is no longer possible. The episode also sets up direct conflict between different groups, even if they have not openly declared war yet. We see signs that leadership structures are weakening. Authority figures who once seemed untouchable now look vulnerable. Their control depended on belief, and belief has started to crack. Episode 8 is likely to explore what happens when people stop listening, stop obeying, and start asking questions. In the Fallout world, that shift almost always leads to violence. Another major setup is the emotional state of the characters. Episode 7 leaves them exhausted, broken, and unsure of who to trust. This is important because desperate people make dangerous choices. Episode 8 will likely push these characters into situations where there is no safe option. Every path will lead to loss. The ending suggests that survival will now require sacrifice, and not everyone will be willing to pay that price. The surface world is also positioned to become more important in the next episode. Episode 7 reminds us that the surface is not just a wasteland. It is a space where rules are weaker and control is harder to maintain. Episode 8 may use the surface as a place of rebellion, but also as a place of punishment. Freedom there comes with danger, and the ending hints that some characters may be forced to choose between controlled safety and violent freedom. The final moments also suggest that long-term plans are about to activate. The system that has been quietly running in the background now feels ready to respond. Episode 8 may reveal new players, hidden facilities, or deeper layers of control that were only hinted at before. The ending of episode 7 feels like the signal that tells the system it has been noticed. And systems do not like being seen by setting all of this in motion. Episode 7 turns episode 8 into a point of no return. There will be no going back to simple survival stories. The conflict is no longer just people versus the world. It is people versus the truth, and people versus the systems that shaped them. Episode 8 is being built as the moment where choices stop being theoretical and start becoming deadly. Episode 7 connects its ending to the larger Fallout universe in a way that changes how we see the entire story. What happens here is not an isolated event or a single failure of leadership. It fits into a pattern that has existed since before the bombs ever fell. The episode quietly reminds us that Fallout has always been about rebuilding the world using the same broken ideas that destroyed it in the first place. The ending shows that history did not end. It repeated itself, just under new rules. The Fallout universe has always hinted that Vault-Tec's plans went far beyond simple survival. Episode 7 strengthens that idea by showing that long-term control was always the real goal. The Vaults were not designed to save humanity as it was. They were designed to reshape it. The ending suggests that the experiments never truly stopped. They only adapted to new conditions. This ties directly into Fallout's wider lore, where different vaults tested different forms of control, obedience, and human behavior. Episode 7 feels like a confirmation that these ideas are still active in the world of the show. Another important connection is the idea of managed chaos. In Fallout history, destruction is often followed by strict systems meant to guide what comes next. Episode 7 shows that chaos on the surface and order in the vaults are two sides of the same strategy. One creates fear, the other creates dependence. Both limit freedom. This mirrors classic Fallout stories where the greatest threats are not monsters or radiation, but organizations that believe they know what is best for everyone else. The episode also reflects Fallout's long-standing theme that technology does not fix human nature. Advanced systems, powerful machines, and detailed planning all exist. Yet the same moral failures remain. Episode 7 reinforces this by showing that even with total control, the system cannot fully erase doubt, curiosity, or rebellion. This connects the show to the games, where no matter how powerful an organization becomes, it eventually faces resistance from individuals who refuse to be controlled. There are also signs that Episode 7 is pointing toward a future similar to past Fallout conflicts. The slow build of tension, the hidden manipulation, and the quiet spread of truth all resemble moments in Fallout history, where small discoveries led to massive wars. The ending suggests that the world is once again approaching a turning point, where controlled survival may collapse into open conflict. By tying its ending into these larger ideas, Episode 7 makes it clear that this story is not just about a few characters or one location. It is about a cycle that keeps repeating across generations. Fallout has always asked the same question in different ways. Can humanity change? Or will it always choose control over freedom? Episode 7 does not answer that question yet. It only reminds us that the cycle is still spinning, and the cost of stopping it may be higher than anyone is ready to face. Episode 7 ends in a way that forces us to rethink everything we have seen so far, not just in this season, but in the entire story. It does not give clear answers or comfort. Instead, it leaves us with heavy thoughts and difficult questions. The episode reminds us that Fallout is not a story about heroes saving the world. It is a story about people trying to survive inside systems that were designed to control them. And once you see that truth, you cannot unsee it. One of the strongest messages of this ending is that survival alone is not victory. Many characters are still alive, but they are not free. The episode shows that staying alive inside a broken system can slowly take away your identity, your choices, and your voice. By the end of Episode 7, the characters understand this, even if they do not yet know how to fight it. This realization is painful, because it means the danger is not always outside. Sometimes it is built into the rules people follow every day. The ending also makes it clear that knowledge changes everything. Once the truth is exposed, even partially, the world becomes